Good day, everyone. I am Paula Kids Tambilawan, and we are the group 10. So, our topic is stress and responses. So, what is stress? Normally, as a student, if marami tayong mga activities na kailangang i-submit or kailangang gawin, we just say na we are so stressed because ang dami naming gagawin. Yun, we felt stressful just because we have lots of activities that needed to be submitted. So, stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding situations or circumstances. Just like what I've said, dahil nga marami tayong mga activities na kailangang i-submit and malapit na yung deadline, we felt very stressed. We have three kinds of stress. So the first one is eustress, second is new stress, and the third one is distress. So let us first discuss the eustress. So yung eustress, ito yung mga or this is a stress that is considered as good stress. So these are the situations or activities that are motivating or inspiring, and this kind of stress is enjoyable and not threatening. So for example, we have we have or you have a crush, and then you wanted to tell that person that crush mo siya, or crush mo siya, and that you felt stress sa pag-confess mo pa lang. So yung confession or yung nagpupush sa'yo na mag-confess is a stress, or you stress is because you have or you gain confidence in telling that person that you have a feelings for him or her. So the second one is new stress. So from the word itself, new or neutral stress. So ito yung mga situations or activities na hindi naman siya threatening, but then it is also not enjoyable. So new stress is a sensory stimulus that has no direct consequences on the person. And the third one is distress. So ito yung mga situations or activities that are or has a negative impact and harmful and threatening. And now let us move on to the stressors. So what is stressors? So stressors are these are situations, activities, or individual that gives us mental or emotional strain. And we have signs and symptoms of stresses. So we have physical, cognitive, or perceptual, and emotional. So let us talk first about the physical signs and symptoms. So in physical, we may felt low energy, headaches, upset stomach, pain or tense muscles, chest pain, and rapid heartbeat, insomnia, frequent colds and infections, loss of desire or ability, nervousness and shaking. So nervousness and shaking is very common na mafe-feel natin during or when we have stress. And the next one is cold or sweaty hands and feet. So na-experience ko din ito, especially when I felt like I am very stressed sa situation na I'm in. And the next one is excess sweating, dry mouth, and difficulty in swallowing. And lastly is a clenched jaw and grinding teeth. So As for our perceptual or cognitive naman, we may be forgetful and preoccupation, blocking, errors in judging distance, reduced creativity, lack of concentration, lack of attention, and orientation to the past, attention deficit, disorganization of thought, and negative self-statements and negative evaluation of experiences. So, as for emotional naman, we may be we may feel depression or general unhappiness, anxiety and agitation, moodiness, no, yung pagiging moody natin, we may felt irritability or anger. We may feel overwhelmed, loneliness and isolation. And lastly is any other mental or emotional health problems. So that's all for my report.
Good day everyone, I am Prexel Red and I will be continuing the report with me discussing coping with stress. So, tanan man jud ta nakatry na mga stress kay tungod sa atong mga problema kinsa bago na tao ang dili maka-experience og stress, no? So, how kita pag stress, we really do have our coping strategies. Paunsa na to siya ma-overcome, paunsa na to siya utubangon, paunsa na to siya paano na to i-divert ato ang mga attention para lang dili ta stress jud kaayo nga magdwell ta ato ang sa ato ang stress. So today we will be talking about coping with stress, na what is coping, what are the types of coping, and what is the positive coping strategies for stress. So let's start off with defining what is coping. So coping refers to the strategies that we use to deal with problems to protect ourselves against negative emotions. So when we are stressed, ato adjong concern is ato ang ma-feel ato emotion kay kita man jud ang maapektuhan ana. So we do things to distract ourselves, to divert our attention, para lang maka-cope up sa stress. And we will proceed to talk to the types of stress. There are 3 types of stress actually: the problem-focused coping, emotion-focused coping, and the cognitive coping. So let's start off with the problem-focused coping. So the first type of coping is problem-focused coping. It targets on controlling or changing the source of our stress. Instead of viewing the problem na something negative, what we do is we view the problem in a practical manner. So example ani is problem solving, time management, getting relevant social support. So, muna siyang example sa problem-focused coping. Like, for example, kanina tayo problema. Instead of viewing it as a problem that causes us stress, what we do is maging wise ta. Instead, like, pasagdan na ang problema, dili magsulod ang atong problem solving. Mangita tag paagi para ma-solve atong problema, para dili na ta stress, no? We are stressed on a short period of time, at least we have already resolved our problem. Next is na example na ako na-mention kay time management. So, dili jud ta ka-relate mga estudyante ani kay guilty jud ta aning time management. So, dili na masulod atong problema, atong issue di ay nagitakel na cramming, no? Cramming, no? It causes us stress. So, next time, para mag-wise na jud, no? Mas hindi jud maiwasan nga crammer ka itong mga estudyante, we practice time management, no? Slowly, pero by the time ma-master naman nato ng atong pag-time management. So the second type of coping is emotion-focused coping. This means that we lower or we eliminate the negative emotional responses that we have. So, example, ani is distraction, talking out, praying, and meditation. So, kita, pag stress ta, mangita jud tag paagi nga ma-distract atong sarili, ma-divert atong attention. So kani atong example na distraction, atong ginabuhat ani is maghimo tag mga activity or mga butang nga maka-distract nato, and at the same time makes us happy, makes us feel okay, that comforts at us. Parehaan ng magkaon ta, ana, palit og mga butang nga gusto nato, mag-ingon-ingon dayon ta nga deserve nato ni ana. Next na example na mention ako is talking out. It is verbalizing our stress. Kita man good pag stress ta ang I think na pinaka-apektado jud is ang atong emotion. So naay instances na ang tao syempre sa tanan ni mag-apply actually, na kapag ang tao is stressed, deep inside, sa atong lughan, na bugat na feeling, diba? Na kanat og ginakim-kim. So, naay mga instances na ang tao pag stressed, pag naay problema, ilalang dyan ng ikim-kim. So, another good way in coping with stress is, ginabuhat man po nato ni is verbalizing it. Kanang muduol ta sa ato ang family or friends or kinsa ba ta tong closest trusted ones nga kung asa makaingon ta nga makarant ta, mapagawas na to sa atong feeling, kay once man good na ato ang ginabati deep inside, ang kabugat na atong ginakuan niya ang unsay naa sa atong utak, once na ma-verbalize nato na siya, mapagawas nato siya through words, murag, di ba feeling nato, murag, digaan atong pamatsyag, digaan atong ginabati, murag na wala tong kabugat sa atong dughan. So, it is effective, no? Actually, we always practice this. So, we are down to the last type of coping, the cognitive coping. It involves conscious intellectual activity of managing stressful situations. Ang may tabo diri is gamito na to atong mind. Gamito na to atong mind to combat stress-inducing thought. Gamito na to as weapon atong mind. So, there are strategies in this type of coping. Actually, there are a lot of strategies that was mentioned in the book under cognitive coping. So, you can refer to the book. I will just be mentioning some of it. Like reframing, positive self-talk, reducing uncertainty, mga ingon ana. So, mauna ta aning gi-mention ako ng strategy na reframing. It is kaning reframing, ato ang i-change ang way how we view an experience or an event. Ana siya, ang reframing. Next is na-mention ako is positive self-talk. Actually, we can relate to this kay if we are stressed, another thing that we do for ourselves aside from doing things to distract ourselves is kanang boost ta sa atong sarili, boost our confidence, mag-cheer up ta sa atong sarili. And another strategy is reducing uncertainty. Diri mo musulod kanit atong line na lamang ang may alam, no? So, siya ha, ang kani sa reducing uncertainty is ang may tabo man gud ani is like for example kani nakay problem, so you as a person ma-stress ka ani na problem, ang view lang nimo ani nga problema is katong mga negative information nga nabalaan nimo about ani imo ang problem. Usually man jud nga mosulod sa atong utok na kapag ang problem is something negative jud, no? So instead of just relying on that negative information that we know about our problem, what we do is we gather, mangita tag positive information about ana atong problema para ma-reduce ato ang uncertainty, ma-reduce ato ang mga negative thoughts, no? So kumaga we are going to be wise ana para lang ma-reduce atong stress. So you have a problem, you have this negative you already have this negative information. So what you do is find the positive information about that problem. So the next that we are going to tackle is the positive strategies that positive coping strategies with stress. So the first strategy is physical and lifestyle strategy. So there are some examples that of things that we can do, activities that as a coping in this type of strategy. Like for example, regular exercise, time management, choosing non-toxic environment, low stress diets, mga ana. So kaning regular exercise, diba? If we do this as coping sa ato ang stress, dili lang sa ato ang mind ang kanang baga na distract from stress, pati pud ato ang body na naka-benefit na ka na na-distract nimo imong sarili, and at the same time imong physical self, imong physical body naka-benefit kay naka-exercise ka, naka-workout ka. The next strategy is emotional strategies. Example ani is self-nurturing, social support, recreational activities, emotional release. So self-nurturing mo ni siya atong ginakuan na self-growth, self-development ana. Kumbaga instead nga mag-dwell too much tang stress ta natin problema, what we do is we take advantage of it in improving ourselves, in growing ourselves. Ang uban ani kay makita na ako sa uban kay kanang ganing mga self-growth na mga books mo na ilang ginabasa to nurture themselves. The third strategy is cognitive strategies. Example ani is constructive thinking, acceptance, distraction, ana. Kaning constructive thinking is mo siya imong ability na i-counter ang negative thinking nimo. Kanang kumbaga labanan nimo ang negative thoughts nga naa sa imong mind para ma-reduce imong stress. Kay isa sa mga naga-cause og stress ato is kanang mga negative thoughts nato. The last strategy is philosophical or spiritual strategies. Example ani kay kanang religious or spiritual life and commitment, positive philosophy in life, consistency in goals. So to cope up with stress kanang what you can do is, especially if you're a Christian or basta kung ano imong religion, you can be active in church, ana, engage in religious activity, be close to God, ana. So last that I will be discussing is we will define what is social stress. So now, what is social stress? It is the state of mind or emotional strain resulting from adverse arising from person's social environment relationship. So Kani, nga stress ang nagakos na nimo og stress is ang kaning social environment na. Social ang palibot na nimo. Baga ang social life na.
Good day everyone, I am Amalthea K. Melgarejo and my topic is all about social stress. What are the sources of social stress? The role of social class, race, and gender, stress in sociological perspective. So first, we talk about what is social stress. So social stress, it is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances arising from the person social environment relationship. So, what are the sources of social stress? So, there are several sources of social stress. What are the sources of it? First, problem with work or earning an income. So, ang example ani, struggling to pay bills to save for the future because gamay lang ang sweldo or tama-tama lang jud. Tama-tama lang jud. Next one is parenting. Common experience for many parents is how to raise their children or paano nila mahatag ang mga needs sa ilang mga anak. Then, ang ikatulo is education. Like karon, we are so stressed because finals. There's a lot of online activities and final requirements na need na. Next one is sex and socialization. People may experience stress tungod sa rejection, exclusion from social group or romantic relationship. And next one is emigration status or language. Immigrants and people who speak different language may experience discrimination from others, leading to feeling stress. The next one is personal, physical, and psychological health. Example ani is trauma. Experience of abuse or violence may experience physical and psychological health. The next one is peer pressure. Feeling pressured to fit with a group kahit di naman kaya. The next one is social marginalization. Individuals who are socially marginalized may experience discrimination based on their identity. So, my next topic is stress and sociological perspective. So, Emil Durkheim was a French sociologist who considered one of the founding father of sociology. He has book Suicide show how social organization group influence the individual's behavior of their members. So, there are three primary types of suicide. Egoistic suicide, altruistic suicide, and anomic suicide. First, egoistic suicide occurs when a person feels he or she is not accepted by or does not belong to the society. So, ang sa egoistic suicide, ang makafeel ani katong mga person daw nga feel nila is they are not accepted or they are not belong sa society. The next one is altruistic suicide. Occurs when a person ends her life to others. Example ani, take his own life para sa iba. Then the next one is anomic suicide. In link to disillusionment and disappointment. Example is you have goal in life, then ang result is wala mo na achieve. So that is anomic suicide. The next topic is the role of social class, race, and gender in social stress. So what social class? Social class, those who are in a lower class or mahihirap na they have higher mental or emotional stress, those who are affluent. So there are three common factors. First, inadequate financial resources. Second, greater use of ineffective coping strategies. And ang ikatulo, less access to social support. Race. So, race is a social constructed concept used to categorize human population based on physical characteristics such as skin color, facial features, and hair textures. So, Ronald Kessler and Harold Neighbors found out that even when social class is controlled, race continues to be an important predictor of distress. Their study showed that African American women still feel more stress compared with European American females of social class. Pero, ang mga African American women naman daw also have more access social support kesa sa mga European American females. So, this may help explain the pattern that even though African American often experience higher level of stress than white American females, they have lower levels of mental disorder naman daw. So, the next one is gender. Gender. Women were found out to have higher rates of psychological distress and depression kumpara sa mga lalaki. So, these are the possible cause of the high disparity between women and men. First, women tend to be delegated to the caregiver role more than to men. So, kita daw mga babae is may mas ginaasahan, kumbaga, kasi kita daw mga babae is mas maalaga kaysa sa mga lalaki. Second, women are inclined to be emotionally involved in the lives of the people around them. So, dali lang kita emotional kaayo kita sa mga bagay-bagay na nakapalibot sa ato. Next one is women introject rather than express anger. So, kumbaga, mas kaysa magalit o kita magalit daw tayo is mas ginapili doon natin maghilom na lang. So, introjection. What is the meaning of introjection? Introjection is a person's ability to take in the expectation and projection of others and take this as the person's own. Ang ikaapat is continuing power differences between women and men in society. So, mas power pa doon gihapon ang mga lalaki kaysa sa atong mga babae.
So, good day everyone. I am Princess Shai Reyes, and for this last part, we are going to learn about self-care. What is it and why is it important? So, let me start it off with a question. What comes first into your mind when you hear the word self-care? Of course, 'di ba? Iisipan natin that it's all about taking care of ourselves, valuing or working on ourselves, or doing something that makes us happy. That alone is already a self-care, right? It's already a part of our overall well-being and healthcare ang pag-aalaga sa sarili natin. Kahit na ang mga basic things lang na mga ginagawa natin gaya ng pag-toothbrush, pagliligo, or even having a skincare routine, matatawag na agad natin yun na self-care. However, guys, this caring for the self is more than just being hygienic and living a healthy lifestyle. Self-care is about allowing yourself to have moments in your day to provide of um, for the parts of you that makes you as a whole. So as we go on with our lesson, we will learn more about self-care. So according to the University of Kentucky, self-care entails taking deliberate acts of looking after your mental, emotional, and physical health. So it means that gaya ng sinabi ko nga kanina, it's all about working on ourselves. When it comes to self-care, guys, we should all be better at working on ourselves every day, such as taking on a new challenge at what's good for our mind and body. So when considering self-care, it is important na ma-recognize natin yung mga area sa buhay natin na nagbibigay ng impact sa sense of balance and overall well-being natin. And mas nagiging kontento as well as mas nagiging balance yung buhay natin if we give our full attention in that areas. And that areas are your mental, emotional, and physical health. So, looking after our mental and emotional health. Here, paying attention to our thoughts and feelings helps create more awareness and connection to our mind and body. Minsan kasi guys, yung mood natin or yung kung anong nafe-feel natin is nai-impluwensyahan talaga siya ng mga iniisip natin. That's why nagiging anxious tayo minsan. So, the best thing that you could do here is to just listen or pay attention or give yourself a space to explore kung ano mang nararamdaman mo. Be gentle with yourself and maybe practice self-compassion. In physical health naman, of course, as mentioned before, kasali na dito ang pagtutulog, pag-exercise, at pagda-diet. So, physical self-care means caring for the body we have in the best way that we can. So, dito, pwede tayong dance-dance sa living rooms natin or ride ng bike kasama ang mga families or friends natin. And part din sa pagre-recharge ng katawan at pag-iisip yung pagre-relax, like doing yoga, reading books, your favorite novels, or going for a walk. Basta any activities lang that you find relaxing, that's already a physical self-care. So those that are mentioned are just one of those areas and strategies that you can use to enhance your self-care. So guys, have you ever been in a situation where, for example, you had a very, very long day, like kapoy kaayo ka gikan work or school, so you wanna unwind yourself and decided to go for a drink, or like every time na naakay gusto paliton and sasabihin mo na wala man isa kong budget, uy, pero gusto man ako ni, and so you have this mindset na dapat dili nimo gina-deprive imong self ani. So you end up buying that specific item for yourself. So those example that I mentioned, guys, are um, also considered self-care. However, it is simplified, or what you mean shallow. So, sabi nga dito sa PPT, self-care is neither overindulging nor unnecessarily depriving yourself, and it should be balanced, meaning na hindi porket you are prioritizing your self-care, ibibigay mo na lahat ng gusto ng sarili mo. Self-care does not mean giving yourself too little or too much of anything. Proper self-care, guys, is yung paggawa ng mga decisive decisions na mas nakakatulong na ma-acquire or ma-maintain yung sinasabi nating physical, psychological, emotional, social, and spiritual areas natin. Kapag kasi nag-a-attempt tayo na i-impose yung self-care natin, or like gina-force natin yung sarili natin to create necessary changes, mas magko-conflict yung gusto or wants sa kailangan or needs natin. At dahil dyan, nawawala na sa purpose yung balance. Just like, for example, as a student, guys, paano nga ba natin pinapahalagahan ang mga sarili natin? Lalo na kapag tambak tayo sa homeworks or assignments. Nakakatulog pa ba tayo ng may sapat na oras? Or baka naman nagme-mental breakdown na tayo at night kasi instead na gagawin natin yung mga homeworks natin, or instead na mag-aral tayo for our exam, mas inuuna pa natin yung pagtutulog. Kasi nga, 'di ba? Self-care. Kaya tayo nagpe-pending sa mga works natin. And of course, we end up cramming things afterwards and regretting it. And what's the result of cramming? Stress, right? Stress kasi sa sobrang dami ng mga gawain, hindi na natin alam kung alin ang uunahin natin. And kapag nai-stress tayo, syempre, makakalimutan na rin natin yung self-care. Ganun yon. So to help us in supporting our health, wellness, and academic success, we should find balance in everything. We should organize and manage well our time and be as productive with our study time as possible. In short, we should study smart and prioritize self-care. So to sum up our lesson, always remember na every person has their own priorities, and one of those are the priorities they have for their self-care. Mas nabibuild up mo yung self-care mo sa buhay mo if you take time to really think about your priorities. And also, finding balance doesn't mean becoming a different person. Meaning lamang nito is yung dapat pakikinig mo sa mga needs ng self mo, and also responding to yourself with kindness.
So, our issue talks about the common factors that results in stress. And as a student, hindi talaga mawawala yung mga ang daming activities, especially ngayon na malapit na yung finals. And we have different ways on doing or completing our task. So, some of us would finish all the needed activities ahead of time, while some will do it when the deadline is approaching. Kasi for them, dyan gumagana yung mind nila, or yung pagiging creative nila kapag malapit na yung deadline. And so this attitude is very common sa atin ng mga students, yung term na cramming. So, cramming can be a eustress, kagaya ng sinabi ko, some students mas gumagana yung pagiging creative nila kapag nape-pressure sila dahil malapit na yung deadline. And but cramming may also be a distress, no? Kasi this may also affect our physical. Kasi kapag marami tayong activities, then ginawa natin siya na malapit na yung deadline, it may result to kulang tayo sa tulog. And yung pagiging kulang natin sa tulog may result in having low energy. So, we still need to balance everything, no? If we have ample of time to do the task, we should do it. We should finish it. And kasi at the end, yung mga ginagawa natin sa body natin is meron talaga siyang impact. If kulang tayo sa tulog, hindi lang siya nagre-result into having low energy, but also maaari tayong magkasakit. So, that is all for our report, and thank you for listening.